Everybody, a quick reminder that KUBRAT PULEV versus Hughie Fury will in fact be this weekend over there in Sofia in Bulgaria, and this will be shown here in the UK on Channel 5. For everywhere else in the world, check your local listings. I have no idea. So this is the fight that I give huge props to Hughie Fury for taking this fight, especially traveling, because one of the criticisms that I had was I felt that Hughie didn't want to travel. Because he had opportunity to go to New Zealand, fight Joseph Parker, all that kind of thing, and I felt that it wasn't legitimate. But you know what? I'm still a fan. He's a British guy, and I wish him all the best. And I believe in Hughie Fury. I do. I know I'm part of a minority here online, of course, but I do believe in him in the sense that he's got the skills to go over to Bulgaria and do a job on KUBRAT PULEV. Now, KUBRAT PULEV has been consistently ranked top 5 throughout all sanctioning bodies for many years. He's not currently ranked now due to inactivity. In fact, he hasn't had a fight in quite some time for one reason or another. Of course, he was supposed to be the mandatory to take on Anthony Joshua, and he didn't seem too keen on taking that fight. To be perfectly honest, he didn't really want it. He kept making excuses about how his team at the time was Team Sauerland, which I believe he's now left. Wasn't communicating to him about when the date was, when it was going to be, all that kind of thing, even though everybody else knew when it was supposed to be. So anyway, he reluctantly signed a contract to fight Anthony Joshua, and I thought that the fight was going to be on, but as it got closer, he pulled out due to a bicep tear or something like that. I forgot what it was, or a shoulder injury, and ended up getting replaced by Carlos Takam. So from that moment, a lot of people looked at him like, are you sure that you really want to be stepping up and get given an opportunity? Because obviously his one and only loss was against Vladimir Klitschko. And it was a fight that some people were actually picking Pulev to beat Klitschko back then as well. So it come to a surprise for some, not a surprise for others, of course. But either way, Pulev is a very dangerous opponent for anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. Even against Joshua, nobody would have been 100% confident that Joshua would have beaten him. I think most people would have picked him to beat, but wouldn't have put any kind of serious money on it. But Pulev has, it's been said plenty of times, a very good jab. Arguably one of the best jabs in the heavyweight division. But it's not just his jab. That's not all he's got. Okay, he has a 1-2 combination of a very good straight right hand that can be concussive. But a lot of people have stood up to that punch. So how much is his power? Well, it's debatable, isn't it? But of course, he hasn't really been in the ring with anybody quite like Hughie, where Hughie is a younger version, if you like, of Tyson Fury in the style, the way that he moves. And I know McKenzie said shades of Ali and all this kind of thing, which seems to be like a bit of a running joke. But Hughie is very difficult to hit, and Pulev could end up getting gassed in this one, chasing him around, because Pulev's not getting any younger, let's face it. But as I said, with Pulev, I think one of his strengths, which is his left and then right, is also one of his weaknesses. It seems that he can't throw the right without throwing the left first. So he'll do a jab, find the range, jab again, and then punch with the right straight away. So it's almost like he can't throw the right punch, without throwing the left first. That is a weakness, but it's also one of his strong attributes as well. So where most people, they kind of like forget that's what he does, and they put their hands up to block the jab, which isn't going to do too much to you anyway, other than sting you a bit, and then they get caught with a right, whether it be a straight right, which is one of his big moves, or a right hook around the back of the gloves. So Pulev is dangerous, and he's got power, and of course he has home advantage, and this is one of the reasons why I give Hughie a hell of a lot of credit for taking this fight. Now, I understand why Dylan White didn't, because he had bigger options out there for more money. One of them was, of course, Joseph Parker, who was a former world champion and had only just lost to Anthony Joshua after going the distance. So very dangerous option for Dylan White, and he chose the dangerous one for a hell of a lot more money, considering that he was only going to get 25% against Pulev, which is ridiculous. Much like Hughie Fury is only getting 25% against Pulev as well, because for whatever reason, the IBF rules are that the number one gets 75%, even though it's ridiculous because they're both going for the same position. It's not a world title fight, it's a final eliminator for a shot at the world title. So Pulev shouldn't be getting 75%. But anyway, that is what it is. Jarrell Miller, he had the opportunity and he had no excuses. None whatsoever, because he was getting even more money than what Dylan White was getting because the purse bid was so much higher. In fact, he was going to get 100 grand more than what Dylan White was going to get. Dylan was going to get about 250, and I think Jarrell Miller was going to get like 330,000. Dominic Brazil just ruled himself totally out of it. I'm not interested. I'm going the WBC route. So it next fell in line with Hughie Fury, and he stepped up. Bearing in mind he lost to Joseph Parker, then he had a British heavyweight title fight against Sam Sexton, dominated it, knocked him out, looked absolutely fantastic in that fight. And I fully expected him to defend that title once or twice and build back up to that kind of thing. But this opportunity came around, and big up Hughie Fury for taking this fight. Now, Hughie, not exactly the biggest puncher in the world, but could you really say that after the Sam Sexton one? But there again, Sam Sexton. So, for me, I think Hughie needs to either convincingly dominate Pulev, as in he's got to win this fight by 3 or 4 rounds just to get a decision. If it's a close fight like it was with Parker, Pulev is going to get the decision, in my opinion, or he's going to have to stop or drop Pulev on a couple of occasions. Preferably stop, right? So that way he's going to have to be very, very confident. But ultimately, he's not really... Well, Hughie is fighting away from home, of course he is. But they have family and a lot of friends, and they spend a lot of time in Bulgaria anyway. So it's not too unfamiliar for them. So it's not really he's going to be the away fighter, but it's still going to be a little daunting for him because he is going to be in a hostile crowd, because Pulev is an A-class celebrity in Bulgaria. And this is why I'm bringing attention to the scorecards, that Hughie needs to do to Pulev what Tyson done to Vladimir Klitschko. Make it clearly obvious who won the fight. And if the judges try to rob him, then it can go straight to investigation, because no judge should rob anybody based on the crowd. It should never happen. Unfortunately, it does. It's the world we live in. We don't rely on technology in boxing. We rely on human error. And where there's human error, there's human corruption. I'm not saying Bulgaria, I'm saying the world over. But with Pulev being the hometown hero, the home country, carrying the pride of Bulgaria on his shoulders, then Hughie's going to have to dominate him. And I've never seen Pulev dominated, ever. Truly, I've never ever seen Pulev dominated. So Hughie's going to have to do something that's never been done before. But at the same time, will inactivity on KUBRAT Pulev's part play a part in this fight? Inactivity, ring rust, who knows what it could possibly be. He was in camp, of course, to face Joshua, but that was way back when. You see, Joshua's had another fight since then against Joseph Parker. So Pulev hasn't done anything, which is a little bit worrying. That's not a good time. One of the biggest killers for boxers is inactivity, and that's the truth of it. So Hughie has the advantage in that one, in the fact that he has youth. So he's going to have the engine, and he's going to have the momentum as such, because he has had a fight with Joseph Parker. He went the distance, so he's got plenty of rounds, even though he was out of the ring for a long time. So had Hughie Fury had a couple of fights before he took on Parker, who knows, maybe it would have been a different result, and certainly has thrown a couple more punches per round in that fight. Who knows what the result would have been. But I think that because obviously he had that one, he's learnt from it. And it's, as I've always said, sometimes a loss is good. It really is, because it helps you refocus and realise, you know what, things don't always go to plan. So he needs to be sharp in this one. And of course, against Sam Sexton, he dominated him and just showed that he's way, way, way above British level. So yeah, it'll be an interesting one, that is for sure. I think Pulev's going to be the favourite. I don't look at any kind of betting odds or anything like that. I never do. But I'm presuming that Pulev will be the favourite. And most people would say, and what I've seen online as well, is the fact that most people would say that this is going to go to the points, where neither one is going to get knocked out. It will go to points, and Pulev will win, or at least get the nod, even if he didn't potentially win it. So that's why I say that Hughie's going to have to dominate him, so it's clearly obvious who won the fight, or stop him. So anyway, big up to Hughie Fury for taking this fight. I'm proud of him for doing it, and hopefully he gets that opportunity and takes that opportunity is really what I mean, becomes IBF mandatory, and then his next fight could be against Anthony Joshua. Whether people want to see that, whether they don't, it's a fight that's going to have to happen. To beat Pulev, you're then forced into that situation where you are mandatory and Joshua has no choice but to face the winner of Pulev and Hughie Fury at some point. Not necessarily next, but if Hughie was to win and Dylan is going to be preoccupied and Wilder don't want the fight, which is probably more likely, and things like that, Hughie Fury is an option. It's a domestic fight, of course, as well. And being the younger cousin of Tyson Fury, I'm sure Joshua wouldn't mind getting a bit of practice on Hughie Fury. That's pretty much what he'll see it as anyway, or maybe anyway. But who knows? First things first, he's got to get past Kubrat Pulev. No easy feat. Pulev is tough, tough, tough. Very, very good, very skilled, very accurate with his punches. But can he keep up with Hughie? Who knows? Who knows? But good luck to Hughie. I'm picking him to win. Whether or not he'll get the decision is another matter. But I'm kind of predicting that I'm going to be making a video saying either he won or he should have won. That's what I think is going to happen after. Anyway, this will be shown on Channel 5 here in the UK on Saturday. I think it's going to be a bit of an early one as well. I think they're actually going to be doing the ring walk around 9 p.m. So, yeah, to get that news out there for you all, just to remind you that Hughie Fury versus Kubrat Pulev for the final eliminator for Anthony Joshua's IBF World Heavyweight title. Drop your thoughts below, click that thumbs up, and of course subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.